In a groundbreaking move, the Minneapolis City Council recently voted to implement an ordinance that mandates ride-hailing companies like Uber and Lyft to pay their drivers a minimum wage equivalent to the city's standard of $15.57 per hour. The decision has sparked intense debate and significant repercussions for both drivers and the companies themselves. What the ordinance entails. The newly passed ordinance sets specific pay rates for ride-hailing drivers while they are operating within the city limits of Minneapolis. Per mile rate, ride-hailing companies must pay drivers a minimum of $1.40 per mile traveled with passengers. Per minute rate, drivers should receive at least 51 cents per minute spent transporting passengers. Minimum per ride amount. Regardless of the distance or duration, drivers are guaranteed a minimum payment of $5 per ride, excluding tips. The goal behind these rates is to ensure that drivers earn a dignified wage, comparable to the city's overall minimum hourly pay. Council member Jamal Osman, one of the co-authors of the ordinance, emphasized that drivers deserve fair compensation and should not be exploited for cheap labor. Uber and Lyft's response. Both Uber and Lyft have expressed their stance on the matter. Here's what we know. Uber, the company, plans to cease operations not only in Minneapolis but also in St. Paul and the entire Twin Cities metro area, including the Minneapolis-St. Paul International Airport. This decision affects more than 3 million people, which constitutes over half of the state's population. Josh Gold, an Uber spokesperson, confirmed this impending exit. Lyft, unlike Uber, Lyft will continue to serve the airport but will no longer pick up or drop off passengers within Minneapolis city limits. C.J. Macklin, a Lyft spokesperson, clarified that their withdrawal is specific to Minneapolis. State-level implications. While the city ordinance takes effect on May 1st, there's a possibility that state lawmakers could intervene. If the state passes legislation that supersedes the local ordinance, it might alter the landscape for ride-hailing services in Minneapolis. The controversy. Critics argue that the city's mandated rates are too high, potentially driving Uber and Lyft out of the market. A recent study commissioned by the Minnesota Department of Labor and Industry suggested a lower rate of 89 cents per mile and 49 cents per minute would still meet the $15.57 per hour goal. However, the City Council opted for a more robust pay structure. As the deadline approaches, riders and drivers anxiously await the outcome. Will Uber and Lyft stay true to their word and exit the Minneapolis market, or will negotiations lead to a compromise? Only time will tell, but for now, the city's commitment remains steadfast.